Hello, boys and girls. I hope you're doing okay. Did you enjoy the lesson yesterday on the grand staff? If you haven't finished watching that lesson and doing the exercise at the end where you make your own Montessori board, then stop this video right now. I don't want you to go any further with this lesson until you've completed what you need to do for your previous lesson. Here's my example of a Montessori board. So I have my 5 lines for the treble clef, my 5 lines for the bass clef, my bracket, and my C ledger line. Remember, that's where middle C goes. And if I had a quarter, which is, approximately the size of the bottom of this pen, I would place the quarter in different places along the grand staff and test myself to make sure I know the names of the lines and the spaces. So why don't we just review very quickly, using my Montessori board, the names of the lines and spaces. Remember, this is the treble clef, this is the bass clef, and when put together, they form the grand staff. I'm going to attempt to move in closer to the camera so you can see this. I hope this works. How's that? Okay. Can you tell me the name of the note that sits right here on this middle ledger line? If you said middle C, you're correct. If you said middle C. Do you remember that middle C has a potential space here and a potential space here? Does anybody remember the name of the space notes that go right here or right here? Do you remember? Well, the way to figure that out is if you're going up, the musical alphabet goes forward. That's the normal direction for the alphabet. If you're going down, the musical alphabet goes backwards, and that's backwards in the alphabet. So as long as we start with middle C and we go up, all we have to do is name the scale notes in order. So we'd have C, D is that potential space, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G is the note that the space goes up on top there. G is the potential space up top. Now let's go back to the middle C line and go down. So now we have to think backwards in the musical alphabet. I hope you can see this. So here's our C. The potential space below that is, think backwards. If you have to, it's okay to go A, B, C. Okay, B. All right, so B, the line right here is A. Now, after A in the musical alphabet, it starts over. And remember, we're thinking backwards, so we have to say G, that's this space, F, E, D, C, B, A, and Grandpa G is at the bottom. The potential space below that, if this line is G, that potential space has to be F. So here is my Montessori board. Did you build your own Montessori board to use? You know what's neat about it? It happens to be the size of a placemat, and I know nobody uses those at the table anymore, but that would be a kind of a cool placemat if you have access to a laminator. And then you can use your quarter while if you're the first one finished eating, and you know me, and I'm always the first one finished eating, so I would pick up my Montessori board, because you like to stay at the table and talk with mom and dad. That's a good time to be there. So why not pull out your Montessori board while everybody's still finishing up, sit at the table and quietly do your music theory. Anyway, just an idea. What do you say we start? Today's lesson is scale, the definition thereof, and what is a scale degree? What are the theoretical names of triads that are built on each scale degree? And what exactly is an interval? So over here, we have the definition of a scale. I would like you to write this down. A scale is defined as a pattern of notes which either ascends or descends according to a formula. Let me say that again. A scale is a pattern of notes which either ascends or descends according to a formula. Now this is the universal symbol for is defined as. It's not an equal sign. It's an equal sign with an extra line on it. So it's 3 lines. The middle line is shorter. Big line, short line in the middle. Big line, short line in the middle. And that means is defined as. So that's just a very, very useful symbol to use in your writing and in your homework in different classes. Please commit this definition to memory. A scale is a pattern of notes which either ascends or descends according to the formula. If you have access to a piano, scales are all over the piano. That was nothing but C scale that I played over an descending bass. Those are just scales. A scale is a pattern of notes which either ascends or descends according to a formula. For 4th through 8th grade, I'll say that again, for 4th through 8th grade, I would like you to know the formula. And here is the formula. Step, step, half step. Step, 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 half step. That formula gives us a major scale. Major scale has the written characteristic of a capital letter. You always use a capital letter when you're defining a major scale. The pattern of a major scale, again, is step, step, half step, 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 half step. You might see it written down this way: bracket, bracket, pyramid, bracket, 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 pyramid. And these brackets look like staples or something. So bracket, bracket, pyramid, bracket, 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 pyramid. Hey, any of you piano players, take a look at this. Focus on this pattern. What do you see there that relates to your piano? What do you see here? Let's just change the language of it for a second. What if I said this? Black, black, white, black, 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 white. Huge hint, right? Okay, that's because when I practiced this lecture, the whole keyboard fell over. Let's hope it doesn't do that this time. If it does, just go ahead and laugh because it was pretty hysterical. All right, so here's this. Here's our step, step. Here's our black notes in the pattern of 2 and 3. So look, S, S, white note, S, 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 white note, S, S, white note, S, 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 white note. All I'm trying to show you is that all of music interconnects and relates and rests upon each other, so to speak. The piano could not exist without the theoretical underpinnings of music, because the piano is laid out, just like the organ and the harpsichord are laid out, with music theory right before your eyes. When I look at this piano, or anyone who's an advanced pianist looks at the piano, you see musical theory literally come to life, because when you play a triad, you just see how beautifully every other note is engaged. And all I have to do to play different triads is adjust my use of the black notes. Okay, so anyway, step, step, half step, 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 half step. That's the pattern of notes that make up the scale. So back over here for a second, we're going to build a few scales. When I define a scale by its key, that immediately gives you the first note and the last note. Let me say that again. When I define a scale by its key, that immediately gives you the first note and the last note. Here's what I mean. Let's do the C major scale. Because I called it the C major scale, it gave me the first note and the last note. The first note and the last note. All I have to do is use my knowledge of the musical alphabet to fill in the rest of the notes. What is the musical alphabet again? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. But scales don't always start on A. In fact, really, they rarely do. There are 7 other choices. So you have to make an adjustment like we're going to do right now. The C scale starts on C. Now I want you to tell me what the next note is in the C scale. Let's use the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D. Okay. What's next? E. What's next? Okay. All right, now you're getting it. Now, why did I do this? After G, I didn't go H. Right, because there is no H unless you live in Germany. And in the American musical alphabet, here we go from G back to A. We start over. So there's our C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Let's do the D major scale. That's a scale that starts and ends on D, so we know that it has D's in it already. What's next after D? A, B, C, D, E. And then what's next? Okay, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, let's do the E major scale. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. And let's do one more example. Let's do the F major scale. I'm going to give you a second to do that one on your own before I write it in. Just think in the musical alphabet what comes after F. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, and then what do you have to do after G? All right, you got it. Okay, now let's look at what we did. A shrewd eye will immediately pick up sort of an acrostic-looking pattern to it. It's not really a true acrostic, but look, there are so many lines in this thing. Do you want to see what I mean? Watch this. Right? Okay. When I started studying music, which you know I was very young when I started doing it, I wasn't aware of any of this stuff in the background about music theory. It didn't become clear to me until I got in college. And then I realized the concrete and intrinsic beauty of music is almost as structural as it is artistic, right? The structure, the theoretical underpinnings of music are what excites me. Now, granted, I love the sounds that I can make with music, but it's very fascinating to me that it's so ordered and so concrete and so mathematical and so testable and so explainable, right? Okay, so anyway, let's get back to our lesson. So now we know how to construct scales. Now, those of you that are advanced know that there are some key things missing in these scales. The C major scale doesn't have any sharps or flats, but the D major scale has 2 sharps. The E major scale has 4 sharps. The F major scale has a B flat. And those are not written up there because all I want you to know right now is how to basically construct the notes. In other words, what notes, what alphabet letters go in each one of those scales. In about 3 more lessons, we're going to start adding those sharps and flats to those, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So here we have our scale structure, and we did C, D, E, F. We could have done G, we could have done A as well. We could have done B as well too. I'll leave you to do those if you want to on your own. But let's go ahead and name these scale notes in a different way. Instead of naming them with alphabet letters, let's name them with numbers. We'll name them with numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So our scale letters can be substituted with numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And I am saying sev, and the reason I'm saying sev is it's 1 syllable. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I also did not call this 8. Here's my first C. It's 1. I'm going to call this one 1 also. Do you get why? It's the same pitch, right? It's just an octave apart. So it doesn't get its own number. If I gave it 8, I'd have to go 9, 10, 11, 12, which is going to get really awkward as I go up. So fortunately, I can just start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and so forth, all the way up. So numbers can also be applied to scales. And they're very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Generally speaking, scale degrees have a degree mark after them. Scale degree. Scale degree. All right? Kind of like Celsius, I guess. All right, so there are our number names. Now, theoretical names are very interesting too. This is one of those memorizing things. So if you're somebody like Georgia who has an easy time memorizing material, this will be fun and easy for you. Theoretical names in truth apply to triads that are built on these scale degrees. However, we're going to use those theoretical names to actually define the scale degree. And this is what I mean. A triad built on scale degree 1 has its own name, and that name is tonic. A triad built on scale degree 2 has its own name, and it is supertonic. I can already hear you laughing, maybe rolling your eyes. That's the actual name. Tonic and supertonic. Then the scale degree, or the triad built on the third scale degree, is called mediant. Mediant. A triad built on the fourth scale degree is one of my favorites, subdominant. A triad built on the fifth scale degree is dominant. So it's not like this one's the real aggressive one and this one is less aggressive or anything like that. What it really means is that the 4 chord, as we will learn that it's called later, a 4 chord, and that makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's built on the 4th scale degree. This 4 chord is subdominant to the dominant, meaning it's less important than this one. It's less final sounding. Now, a subdominant chord and even a subdominant cadence sounds beautiful and very final, but the subdominant part of it does not feel very, very strong, as opposed to this. Now, granted, I played it louder, but still, this feeling feels somehow more dominant than this. Maybe not to you right now, but later on as you explore music a little bit further, you'll learn that a cadence that goes from 4 to 1 just sounds softer. In fact, it's often called a soft cadence. And a cadence that goes dominant to tonic sounds harder, more final, and it's actually often called a hard cadence. Okay, so after dominant, we have a scale degree built on, a triad built on the 6th scale degree is called submediant. And in music, there is a direct relationship between the 3rd and the 6th. So that's why those two are related. And in music, there's a direct relationship between the 4th and the 5th. And that's why those two are related. There is not the same relationship between tonic and supertonic. But super in this case means above. So the 2nd scale degree is really above the 1st scale degree. So here's our submediant. That's 6. 7 has a great name. I love this one. Leading tone. And the best way to explain leading tone, there's old folklore that when Ludwig van Beethoven was sleeping, in order to get him to wake up, his dad, we'll call him Hans, I don't know what his name was, but it seems to me it should be Hans, right? So Hans van Beethoven would go to his piano and play this. He would stop the scale on the leading tone, which would be so disruptive to Ludwig's sleep that he would have to wake up and go downstairs in their chateau or whatever they lived in Bonn, Germany, and he would have to go to his piano and play just so that he could have inner peace. All right, so a leading tone is that note which it has only one place that it can go. It has only one place that it can go, right? If you don't play that, you have great unrest, great anticipation. And then after the leading tone, we return to tonic. So I'll just, for the sake of it now, write it again. Okay. So now we have three different ways to name a scale. By the actual alphabet letters, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. By numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And by theoretical names, tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone, tonic. And it's also important because we know that scales and music never just go in one direction. They go in every possible direction because it's up to the creativity of the player or the composer. So we know we have to learn that same pattern going backwards. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if I can do this one. I haven't tried it. Tonic, leading tone, submediant, dominant, subdominant, mediant, supertonic, tonic. Whew, that was hard. Okay. So there you are. Why don't we take a quick break right now from this and let's sing. Let's do our song Siahamba. Siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahamba, siahamba, siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahamba, siahamba. Siahambe kukanyen cuencos, 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 siahamba, siahamba, siahambe kukanyen cuencos, siahamba. Siahamba, siahambe kukanyen cuencos. Why don't you take a minute, go to the bathroom if you need to, get something to drink, and then when you come back, we'll do a review and a quick quiz. So right now you can turn off your computer or pause it for just a second. Okay, so are you back? All right, so now you've got a fresh Capri Sun or whatever you got, and you're ready for a little bit more, right? Okay, let's go on a little bit more. Why don't we do another song right now as a sort of a bridge? Why don't we do, do you remember this one? The Navajo song. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace under our feet. Peace within us, peace over us, let all around us be peace. Little interlude. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace under our feet. Peace within us, peace over us, let all around us be peace. Strange times that we live in right now. Boys and girls, I know what you're going through because I'm going through it too. We are all going through it. The world is going through this. If you feel alone, just remember, the world is going through this. Here's the way I think about it. was young, it took me a long time to figure out that everybody was going through the same things that I was going through. I'll give you an example. Do you remember spring break? Well, we had a funny spring break this year, but normally it's just 5 days with a weekend on one side and a weekend on the other side. Well, you know, when you start a break like spring break, you feel like you have all the time in the world, but those days go fast. And then pretty soon you're in day number 8 or day number 9, and you're looking at going back to school the very next day, and you're like, man, how did this happen to me? This is awful. My whole break is gone. But then one of those years, it occurred to me, well, hey, everybody I know is going to school in 6 hours from now. So everybody I know feels the same way. They feel like their break went way too fast, and they're frustrated and they're sad about it. Well, we're all locked in our houses now, and it's easy to feel frustrated and sad about that. Even grown-ups. You know, I love going to the gym. Oh man, I can't go to the gym. I feel like I've given up every one of my friends because all my friends are in the gym. That's pretty much true. So I really feel like I'm isolated and I don't have contact with them right now, which obviously that can make me sad. But I still have a lot of very good things. I got a beautiful new motorcycle, you know that. And I've got adult, adult friends, my grown-up friends that I like too. And I got to see one and hang out on my porch with one today, and I got to see some yesterday, and that was really nice too. So remember, boys and girls, we're all going through this at the same time, and nobody's enjoying it. Nobody's enjoying it. But the bottom line is there will be a time when we are all back together, and I hope it's very, very soon, because I can't wait to see you guys again. But there will be a time when we're all back together and this is all gone. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do our review now. Remember the Montessori board? I want to leave you with this thought question. And that thought question is, how do the scales relate to the Montessori board? How does the scale pattern relate to the Montessori board? Because we've already learned from this keyboard, from looking at it and from looking at this and the other musical instruments we have, that the musical theory as we know it is encapsulated in our musical instruments, especially in the piano, but it's also encapsulated in this beautiful thing right here, which is the grand staff, this masterpiece of theoretical knowledge, right? It really is. If it weren't for our ability to write down music, I wouldn't be able to tell you how to play Siahamba. Or you wouldn't be able to sing it with great accuracy if you couldn't see what the notation looked like. So this stroke of genius, which happened sometime in the late Greek and Roman era, at the very, very beginning of the low Renaissance, the Middle Ages, low Renaissance, that period we began to write down musical notation. And this really does have all of that information up there. I wonder if you can think about it this week and see if you can figure out how the grand staff and our new understanding of scales work together or are related. Okay, so let's go back through what we've learned today. We have learned that a scale is a pattern of notes which either ascends or descends according to a formula. We learned this real spiffy little symbol, which is defined as in international language. And the reason I'm saying international language is this is an international 7. If you write your 7s that way, there's a chance that you learn from someone from maybe another country or somebody with a science background or an engineering background, because they would use that too. So this is an international symbol that means is defined as. A scale is defined as a pattern of notes which either ascend or descend according to a formula. And we even went a little bit further and we learned what that formula is. That formula is step, step, half step, 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 half step. And that gives us a major scale. In shorthand, the symbology of that is bracket, bracket, pyramid, bracket, 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 pyramid. We also learned that in addition to the alphabet letters of a scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you can also name a scale by numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can name a scale by theoretical names, tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone, tonic. And so those are all very useful. And I think this is going to end this lesson for today. Why don't we sing one more song? Let's sing our other peace song. Remember peace like a ribbon? May peace like a ribbon encircle your heart. May you find gentle rest from your sorrow. May the love that you give to your family and friends circle back to your heart for tomorrow. May peace like a ribbon encircle your heart. May you find gentle rest from your sorrow. May the love that you give to your family and friends circle back to your heart for tomorrow. Thank you very much, boys and girls. I wish I could see you. Work hard on this lesson, and I'll bring you the next lesson very shortly. Bye.